Get ready for the greatest roast of all time, the Roast of Tom Brady, a Netflix live event happening May 5th. Hosted by Kevin Hart, the 7-time world champion gets his cleats held to the fire by famous friends and frenemies on an unforgettable night where everything is fair game. Tune in on May 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Roast of Tom Brady, live only on Netflix.
You ready?
Showtime.
On May 3rd, summer starts with The Fall Guy.
What are you doing later?
Let's drink a spicy margarita.
Make some bad decisions.
Yes.
Audiences are falling in love with the most entertaining film of the year.
Fall Guy.
Fall Guy?
Fall guy.
That's what the poster said.
See Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt in the movie critics say exists to make you happy.
Trying to make it out?
Nope.
Because I don't either. It's not what I'm into right now.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah.
The Fall Guy. Only in theaters May 3rd. Rated PG-13.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Austin Oli, a sports podcast. It's another week. We're doing this again. We're a day late, and guess what? The Rangers streak ended, so I think it's us.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Since we started
that's
our
brutal.
podcast, they hadn't lost, and we decided to push it a day, and guess what? We lost to the A's. So yeah, it's our fault, guys. Just a little quick preview of what we're going to do today. We're going to introduce ourselves after I say everything because we kind of jumped the gun last week. I think we were just a little too excited to talk about sports. We're going to cover some Premier League stuff. Premier League starts on Friday. Top of the table, relegation teams, signings of the seasons, flops of the seasons. We'll talk about the Women's World Cup. Our beloved USA lost. Boo-hoo, who cares? New winners. There's a no-hitter in baseball today. We'll talk about that. Some new Ranger players. We'll recap what happened in the Ranger series, what's coming up. Injuries for the Rangers. Messi was here in Frisco. I wasn't there. You weren't there, but I'm pretty sure everyone knew he was here.
Yeah,
and then,
it was crazy.
Yeah, we'll talk about some Cowboys. The first unofficial depth chart. That's kind of interesting. Take that with a grain of salt. And weigh in with some Dallas Mavericks. We put that with a question mark, but someone got signed today as we did this. Yep. So, yeah, Austin, take it away, bro. Who are you? What are you doing here? And why are we doing this?
So it's funny that I guess when Oliver had already kind of started his own deal, and I'd always joked with him about wanting to hop on, and then we started talking about it. And I guess I should preface that I know Oliver because I married his cousin, and so just being around for, I guess Emily and I've been together for 10 years and married for a couple months now. So it's, you kind of build a relationship and stuff like that, and realize that hey, we have a lot of the same similarities. We like the same things, and we're both pretty big into sports and played sports collegiately. So we both played D3 ball. I played football in Ohio at a school up there. And then we both grew up in the area. So I went to high school out, or I guess we went to high school maybe 10 minutes from each other, really, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then, really from there, just kind of always been a sports fan and kind of always really followed all the teams in the area. Big Cowboys. I've just started getting into baseball this year with a big TCU fan because of Emily. So really started getting into baseball this year when they started making a run to Omaha, and then kind of carried over to the Ranger season. And it's nice because the Rangers are actually balling this year and kind of makes it easy to support, which is nice. And then, when it comes to anything else, like the Prem, I randomly decided to follow Tottenham, which for better or for worse, yeah, brother, it has been tough lately. But hey, come on, you can't speak.
I can't. I'm over here laughing, but I really have no room to talk.
Yeah. So, but I think optimism's coming up. So I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I know we both spend a lot of time talking about sports, even just texting each other. So I think that we may not be, this may be starting out, but I think we can provide some good insight and just be entertaining. And that's the whole thing, right? We want to have fun with it, and we want everybody that's listening to have fun and enjoy talking to or listening to us, and kind of just start building from the ground up. So that's kind of my intro, and I guess the intro to the podcast as a whole.
No, for sure. Yeah. That was lengthy. Thanks. I don't know if I'll top that.
My bad.
No, you're good. But yeah, so me and Austin met a while back. I remember, funny story, he helped me pick out my Letterman. I don't know if you remember that. My freshman year in high school.
I did. I forgot about that.
I was I don't know what to do. And then my tia was like, we'll just come. We'll because I think the girls were playing. I don't think they were playing Northwest maybe, and I don't think Emily was playing or something. I don't know. And then y'all came and you helped me do that, and I was like, that wasn't our first introduction, but I'm sure I'd met you before. But like,
it was pretty early on. Yeah,
it was pretty early on in there, and then after that, and then like we were still on and off, and I was like, oh, this guy sounds cool, sports, blah blah blah. And then I remember went to go eat somewhere. I think it was whose graduation? You had just got in your truck, I remember, and that's when you told me that you were a Spurs fan.
Okay.
And I was like,
it
was caught me off guard first that you were watching soccer because I knew you were a sports guy in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was Emily's graduation from college. Yeah, when we finally walked after COVID. Yeah. That was it.
And then you were talking about Spurs, and I was like, dude, why Spurs? Like, yeah, I'm come on the soccer train, but I was like, Spurs, bro. I was like, where did that come from? But yeah, and then like he said, I started my podcast stuff. Kind of a little bit. I wanted to do it obviously, and like I wanted to pursue it more after I graduated. There shouldn't have been an excuse anywhere along those lines while I was in school, but I was like, you know what? Once I graduate, I'll be like, I have more time to this, and that. But yeah, I would always joke around saying, I mean, I always had all my friends like, oh, bro, let me hop on. Like, yeah, it's easy, but it's also like we like time consuming with like finding stuff to do and like finding both times for us to do it. We both work. We both have outside lives. So whenever we have to do it, whenever we can do it, it's a privilege to do it. So it's awesome. And I like having a co-host because you hear opinions from you, opinions from me. Just two different minds.
It's easy to bounce off of people too. And like, especially when you're just doing it by yourself, like that is a lot of listening to yourself. And it's easy to like give yourself a break and do all that. So it's definitely nice.
Yeah. And it really pushes you. Like I said, like obviously I was doing my stuff. I didn't do as much as I wanted to, but I still can. But it's like obviously having you or like we push each other and like, hey, like we can do this here, we can do that there. Just holding each other accountable.
Makes everything a little bit easier. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, and like you said, we both played college ball. I played soccer out in Longview, Texas. If you know where that's at, congrats, because not a lot of people know where that's at. But yeah, I studied sports communication, so this is really what I want to do, hopefully. Full-time would be cool. I'm trying to get in the radio business. That'd be awesome, or just anywhere in sports. So I think this can really help me out. So, yeah, that's my intro.
Sweet. Well, you want to get into the prims? Talk about that.
I mean, I don't want to. I really don't. I was making fun of it at the beginning of the podcast, but this is bad.
Come on now.
Bad.
Yeah,
I'll let you go first, bro. You go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So obviously, right, I'm a Spurs fan. Looking into the season, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the most optimistic I've been in the season. So, and I think thanks to Big Ange, the man, the Aussie. So there's been obviously a lot of back and forth on whether Harry Kane's staying. So I think him staying and kind of us establishing the system of like getting back to not being soccer terrorists, thanks to like Jose and then Conte.
Oh God, yeah.
It was dark. It was dark days. It made it not fun to watch. And so getting back to like high flying football and stuff like that just is making it fun. So really, right, talking about we want to start with go through the top 7. Who we think the top 7 is? Who's going to get European soccer? Who's going to be relegated? The bottom 3. I was obviously like sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I really, it was pretty obvious that I think City was gonna be number 1. I think that the depth that they have is still crazy. They didn't really lose many people other than, they lost like Gundogan and stuff like that. But I think overall they're still far and away the best team, which sucks and is what it is. And it's a boring and a safe answer, but I think it's the right answer. So, at the end of the day, like I want to look back on this in May of next year and be like, oh, I was right. So. They
have a lot of depth, like you said. You lose your captain. He was captain for most games last year. Yeah. De Bruyne wasn't playing, or even if De Bruyne was playing, but they have so much depth, bro. Like, it pisses me off. Like, and they're trying to go out and they get, like, Paqueta. I'm like, why do you want Paqueta? You went and go get Calvin Phillips, holding mid for what? You're not going to play him. And
it doesn't play.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then to route off the rest of the top 7. So, in order, I have City 1, United 2, which I'll defend that in a bit, Spurs 3, which I'll defend that too. I will argue that.
You're gonna have to defend a lot right there, my guy.
I'll defend that until I'm blue in the face. Arsenal 4, Chelsea 5, Villa 6, Brighton 7. So the 2 big omissions I have from the top 7 are Liverpool and Newcastle. So I'll start with them. I think the reason why I have them finishing 8th and 9th. So the reason why that I have them neither of them in the top 7 is I think, one, let's start at Newcastle. I think that they have a good squad, and I think they massively overperformed last year. They were ahead of schedule. Going out and to sign Sandro Tonali was, that's a big signing, a lot of money, and obviously they're backed by Saudi Arabia. But I just think that it's still coming too fast for them, and I think that Eddie Howe's a good manager, but I don't think that he'll be ready, and I don't think the team will be ready to play Champions League soccer and then play FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and then also go into the Prem. And I think that there's a lot of teams that are going to figure out how the way they play. They're going to figure out, the style and get used to that after their first season under Eddie Howe. And so I think that it's preview to the flops of the season. I think that Tonali's he's not going to be. It's going to be the same issue that you saw with Scamacca and West Ham. So,
oh wow.
And then when it comes to Liverpool, yeah, I mean when it comes to Liverpool, the whole reason why I have them out of the top 7 is because I just don't think they have the depth. They made good signings in Alexis McAllister and then Soboslai from Leipzig, but I just think that looking at their squad depth, it takes one injury crisis, and you look at a squad like Chelsea, you look at a squad. I mean, our Tottenham have 40 players on the first team, which is a problem, but you're not going to worry about injuries.
You think it's baseball, man, with the 40-man roster?
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. So those are the 2 reasons why I don't have them in European soccer. And then Brighton, I think they just play outrageously well, and I love the way they play. They have good they just Matoma's a dog, and they just continue to get better. They just signed João Pedro from Watford, and so
I saw that, yeah.
And then Evan Ferguson is a great young prospect, a striker too. So I think they're going to be good. They have a lot, and they play good, really well. So, and De Zerbi's a great manager. Villa is probably, my opinion, they're probably the most improved team that they had out of the entire league this year. The signings they made, I mean, Tielemans is going to be a great signing, and the fact that they got him on a free, unbelievable. Pau Torres, great signing at center back. I would have loved for Spurs. To sign him too, especially because
I know West
we just
Ham
signed Van
on the
der
radar
Ven
too. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I think that they're going to be really good. And Unai Emery, I mean, he didn't really work out well at Arsenal, but I think at Villa it's a perfect fit. Chelsea, I think they just need more cohesion as a squad. I think that's kind of their problem. They're just, Bowley's spending so much money that it's good, and they have a lot of talent. I think Nico Jackson from Villarreal is going to be a good striker, but they just kind of need to they have a lot of young prospects, a lot of young talent, which is good, but I just don't think right now, I don't think that's the fastest way to climb the table. I think one reason why I have them and Spurs above Liverpool, Villa, Brighton, Newcastle is because they're not playing European soccer this year. So they don't have to worry about all the different competitions. It's a little bit easier. And I think Poch is a great manager. Obviously, when I started watching Spurs was when Poch was the manager, and it was the Champions League final year. So that was definitely, he's going to get them right. I think they'll be good. And I hate to say it because, I have a couple of friends that are Chelsea fans, and it's honestly, I'm tired of them spending $1 billion every year. So
with all that
ridiculous
money spent, they're kind of like the Mets of the Premier League, if you say.
Exactly. I think that's a great.
Yeah, you would hope they start clicking at some point with all that money they spent on all those top class players, and also in Man U too. You could say that too with all the players they've spent. Yeah,
I think that's fair. And then Arsenal, I think they might take a step back just from, they still have a great squad. I think they have really good talent, and Saka's obviously Saka. They just brought in David Raya from Brentford as another keeper. So, I think that they're going to be a good team. It's just, I think that they're still inexperienced. They haven't played Champions League soccer before, or at least a lot of them haven't. So that's going to be something that's going to kind of take away from their Prem season. And then Spurs, trying to take my Spurs fan glasses off and just be super unbiased. I think that you can look at the friendly that they played against Barca. It would have been yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. With I would say a B/C team, but especially a C team by the time that the game was in after the 80th minute. They were up 2-1 on Barca, and you could have said they probably should have won that game. But playing 3 guys that were in Dane Scarlett, Alfie Devine, and I can't remember the third, that were all they're all youth prospects, and that were loaned out to League One sides last year. So, and to really take the game to Barca, I think that just the style of football that Ange plays and he likes and he wants from his teams is something that's like super, super top tier. It's just going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to score a lot of goals. And I think Van de Ven is a great signing at center back because he's got a lot of pace and they play a high line. So they kind of like, they press a lot and he has recovery pace if somebody plays a ball over the top and he's able to get back there. And I think Romero's a world-class center back and he's up there. So he's obviously a World Cup winner. And I think that they just have a lot of talent. So I don't think that they'll get to the upper echelon when it comes to like City, but really from like United, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, I think all that's pretty tight. So I mean, it's you're splitting hairs at that point. And United, I think Ten Hag's a great manager. I know there was a couple. I think it was when we were interviewing Conte is when Ten Hag was rumored to be the next Spurs manager. So I wanted him back then. I think he plays great soccer too, and has a good mind. They have a lot of talent. I mean, if Rashford kind of keeps the form that he had in the middle of last season, I think they're going to be tough to beat. And then they had the guy that they just signed from Atalanta for striker. I think if he kind of comes good and he adapts, and I mean, everything that I've read is he's like a physical freak, right? So I think that's something that could do well. And then I think you're about to get Harry Maguire off their hands, so don't have to worry about that anymore. So I think they just have a lot of talent, and the difference between them and Chelsea, in my opinion, is that they've kind of been the same core squad for at least a season now. So they've had that time to kind of mesh, and they've been under Ten Hag. I think this is his second season, maybe his first 1.5. He's been there 1.5 seasons, so they kind of know the way he plays, and it's not like they're learning a new system. And then I've kind of already hit on City, so I think City are just it right now. So that's my top 7.
All right, yeah, I kind of went a totally different direction than you. I'll tell you that.
That's tough.
Let's see. I went top 4, but I'll give you my 7 too. So I have Arsenal actually winning the league this year.
Don't say that.
I really think so, man. But like you said, I mean, they did have
they had a
good season last year. He's going to get himself a Prem, bro. He's going to be the first player to win the Prem and the Europa Conference League and the Champions League. Don't worry about it. Nah, not Champions League. But no, I really think Arsenal, I mean, they had some good signings. I think they look good, and I think hopefully they can not bottle it this year. They should have won it last year. But it's going to be tough now, you said, with other tournaments in play. Champions League now, they haven't played that in a long time. And I have City right behind them. Obviously, I mean, I just think because it's City. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to go low. I mean, if they're anything lower than 1 or 2, I think that's going to be very surprising. I had Man U at 3. I had Liverpool at 4. I think they can come back into the top 4. Personally,
I mean, I think they have the talent to do it. It's just like I said, I'm worried about the squad depth. I think after you get out of when you're playing Trent, who's a great player. I think Trent is a great player, but when you're playing him at midfield, like obviously. I mean, that may even be his best position, right? But that just shows that you don't have the depth and like senior signings to do it. Yeah. And so I think that's where you run into problems. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of just Jota too. I think he had a really good season last year. Yeah, hopefully that transfers over to this year. I think he's a big sleeper on that Liverpool team, and the McAllister too. You would hope he brings that form from World Cup and also Brighton. But yeah, and then I would go Chelsea 5, and then I think I stick with Villa, and I feel like I have to throw Newcastle in there. I know you're not that you're hating on Newcastle, but they had such a good year last year, man.
And where's Spurs?
I think they can sneak in, huh?
Where's Spurs then?
Oh, oof. That is I'd probably flip them with Spurs than with Villa. I have them. I think so.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, sorry, man. Brutal. I hate to break it to you.
That's so brutal.
I hate to break it to you.
I can't. I just have. My list is perfect. So
your list is perfect. Okay, yeah. We'll see how it is at the end of the season. We'll see what it is at the end of the season.
I'll be ready to tell you.
Oh my God. So yeah, those are my top 7, and then I think our bottom 3 are kind of the same.
Yeah, I think so. So at 18, I have Bournemouth. Bournemouth 18, Luton 19, and then Wolves 20. I've never been more sure that a team. For 18.
What is that? 18. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Luton Town, and then Wolves.
Yeah, I've never been more sure that a team is going to get relegated than I have been with Wolves. I don't know what
Man,
it is.
their
Like
fall off is crazy. I mean, they got rid of everyone.
it's crazy. Like you get rid of probably your best player in Ruben Neves. They just got rid of their manager yesterday, and Julian Lopetegui. So like
right before the season.
and then they spent right before the season. So that's like everything you've been doing during preseason makes no sense. And I think
like why would you wait so long? Like,
exactly.
What would you see in preseason where you're just like, hey, I'm gonna get rid of this guy? Like, why didn't you do that before? Like
exactly makes no sense. And then they spent I think they spent 55 million on Matheus Cunha from Madrid, Atletico Madrid. So like that's supposed to be your big signing, but I don't see it. You lose. You're not replacing Ruben Neves. Like I don't. And then Luton.
Yeah, you
I
also
think
lose
they're gonna
Raul Jimenez too. But I mean, I don't think that's a big factor, to be honest. But
yeah. So I don't know, man. And then Luton, I think that they're gonna I bet that they'll surprise some people, and I think probably their home form will probably be a little bit better than the way they play on the road. I think that they'll make games hard at home in their little 11,000 seat stadium. So I think they'll be interesting, and they made some decent signings, but I just think it was too early, and there's just it is what it is, but it's a money game, and I don't think that they have the money to pay the players that they need. So
yeah.
And then Bournemouth, similar to Wolves, the reason why that I think Bournemouth's going down is that they also just super, super late into the preseason, they fired their manager to go with somebody else, which the manager that got fired,
you should have known at the very beginning from the summer that he's not going to be your manager when season starts. So why not give your new manager some time instead of throwing him in the fire the week of?
Yeah, it's just it was maybe 3 weeks ago that they fired and replaced him, but the guy that they hired is a Spanish manager, never had any experience managing a team in England. So that's one, they're not used to the style of who you're playing against. And then two, I think his best year has been at Vallecano and La Liga, which is I think maybe a 13th place finish. I just don't think that that's going to keep you up, especially when you're playing in, probably pound for pound the best and the toughest league to stay in.
I think so. It's 13th place in La Liga, but bring that over to England, to the Premier League, I don't think it's going to be the same at all.
With the money that teams are spending, it's not the same.
Oh no, yeah.
So
yeah, I put Nottingham in there because I'm a big hater. Screw Jesse Lingard, everything, all that. I hate them with all my guts. So they deserve to be relegated. So I kind of want to throw Everton in there too. I feel like they should have been relegated last year, but I don't think they'll be relegated this year. But we'll see. I think it'll be for sure. I think Wolves and Luton Town, I think, are gonna be the bottom two. I feel like that third one might just be a little coin flip without those bottom teams.
I think really you could any three teams of Everton, Forest, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth. I think you can make.
Bro, you can throw West Ham in that, and I wouldn't be mad.
I didn't want to say West Ham in that. I didn't want to say.
You can.
I didn't want to say it. Okay, well, I did have West Ham in there, so
you can throw them in there, bro.
But I think they have the money, and I think West Ham will actually spend, so I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, but it looked like we struggled last year with the Conference League, or we obviously dominated Conference League, but we just decided to screw the Prem and did not pay attention and really fought with fire and just played with fire, man, and just we were so close to getting relegated, man. I was kind of wanting to because it'd be cool, you win the Conference League and you get relegated and you play the Europa League next year. Dude. I think we're gonna struggle, man. I really do. Unless Edson comes in and he has some really big shoes to fill for Declan Rice. But I really like the signing with Edson. I'm a big fan of Edson, to be honest.
Yeah.
James Ward-Prowse, allegedly too.
Yeah, and I saw that you guys were rumored with Fuller and Balogun to the
I did see that
striker. So that'd be a pretty good pickup. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, because Skamaka leaving, I'm really disappointed that he wasn't able to play how he was supposed to. It wasn't even that, man. I don't know what it was. Something with Moyes, and I think I saw it the way. We saw Moyes do it with Chicharito. He's not a big fan of I guess he's not a fan of goal scoring strikers. Of just if you score, you score. No matter how you do it, he doesn't like it. He likes people that run around.
He wants to play in the system. Yeah.
He likes a dog striker. That's what he wants. And that's what Antonio does. He'll score for you, but he's also going to run his ass off and just run like a chicken without his head off. I'm serious. If you watch him play, he just runs around, presses. And that's what he does, but I guess he just doesn't like a goal-scoring striker, like a true guy that can pick up the ball, distribute very well, and then run off of it.
Yeah.
And that's just what Moyes has proven that he doesn't like. So he should have known that from the get-go, that that's not what Scamacca was going to do.
Yeah. But, all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and I think we've talked about the Prem enough. I mean, I think we can kind of get onto it more as the season goes along, but let's go ahead and talk about the Women's World Cup and kind of hit on that briefly. I think obviously, right, I think everybody should have known by now that the U.S. women lost to Sweden 5-4 on pins after drawing 0-0 after the extra time. So really like a big thing that a lot of the discourse around it was just missed opportunities for the United States. I want to say that, like, if you are familiar with expected goals and XG, that it was probably like 3 or 4% chance that the United States would have created that as many goals as they had and scored. I think it was 0. So it was something ridiculous. So anyway, I think it's time for Vlatko, the coach, to go. I think that the players are more than capable of winning a World Cup, but just making decisions and too little too late, I think it's how it is.
Yeah.
So,
and I really think they were kind of asking for it. We should have seen this coming. I don't know why they didn't get like their like bells rung at the first time with Portugal when they were literally this close to just getting eliminated.
Yeah.
And then the way they reacted, and obviously how everyone reacted to it, even Carly Lloyd, she was bashing on them. I mean, but like she has the right to. She's been in that position. She's played with them. So like anyone else, I mean, like she's the one to do it.
Yeah, and I think I even saw like Tobin Heath, another like U.S. Women's alum, like she was like on a podcast like almost in tears because she's like, like I just don't think that the women, like, they had more than enough talent, but they just weren't set up to win and they weren't set up to be successful. And that's the biggest missed opportunity, is just having the talent and having the opportunity to do so, but just backing the wrong horse to manage those players. So.
Yeah.
But I think even with the US out, I think it's still gonna be really, really interesting to see how the bracket plays out. I think the top of the bracket where the US would have had gone through. I mean, now it's Spain, Netherlands, and then Japan, Sweden,
tough.
And that's like
tough.
That's murderer's row right there. I mean, I think that's got to be for the top 8, I think, teams in the world that you're having to go through. So
yeah, there's some really good games in the knockout rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So. We'll see. I think that'll be pretty interesting to watch and kind of follow along, even without a dog in the fight anymore. So, well, that's kind of all I had soccer-wise. I know you had a couple more notes here if you want to get into those guys.
Oh yeah, obviously we were talking about Michael Lorenzen. He was right before I left for my indoor game. I see a tweet from Jeff Passan and say, "Hey man, the Phillies are playing really good baseball as they're late." He's like, "Really good baseball if you want to tune in." And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, obviously, he's talking about a no-hitter. So I tuned in, and guess what, bro? I streamed him today in my fantasy. So I picked him up. I was reading the comments in Yahoo, and they're like, nah, bro, don't believe it. It's a trap. It's the Nats, but he's going to get rocked.
That's crazy.
Bro, those are no-no. And I'm like, oh, my God, I was so happy. Brought my ERA down really nicely. But, yeah, awesome thing, like I said, he throws a no-no. Last time for the Phillies was actually Cole Hamels. He threw a no-no for them. Former Ranger pitcher, so that was fun. I think it was like
that's pre Ranger trade, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was I think it was their 14th no in history for the Phillies. Threw 124 pitches, and it's very rare. I feel like you never see pitchers get even to 100 nowadays.
Yeah.
Because there's people really they get pulled at like 90 or even close to 100 because they just don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a really cool story. I know like something with like I think his dad had just passed away like within the last year or so. And he obviously just got traded from the Tigers. And he's actually supposed to be like, he's listed as a reliever too. So he came in the leagues like a reliever, and he was able to, he's not a reliever, put up 124 pitches.
Yeah. He has the arm strength to be able to do so, and the arm durability
exactly.
to do so.
I just love seeing like there's shirts of like relievers, and it's like failed starter. And that's probably what relievers are. They're just failed starters. We just throw them in the pen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was his first shutout and complete game of the year. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And really the last story that's kind of outside DFW is Eric Bieniemy, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time as their offensive coordinator. And then now this summer, after the Chiefs season ended last year, Ron Rivera, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, basically handpicked Eric Bieniemy to be their new offensive coordinator. And then now it's coming out that, 2 weeks into training camp, that his coaching style is too much and too demanding on the Commanders players.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, bro. An NFL team complaining about the head coach or the coach just being too harsh on them, or just like intensity's too much.
Yeah, I think it kind of, and the fact, if it were really any other team in the NFL, I would be surprised. But the fact that it's coming from Washington doesn't surprise me, because I think you can look at the way that whole organization is ran, and I think that you can kind of tell that there's a lot of issues behind the scenes. And the fact that your handpicked offensive coordinator is having stories like come out about him that players aren't liking him, and the coach, like the head coach Ron Rivera, isn't defending him, and just like airing the dirty laundry, I think is a big problem. And I think that they don't really have a quarterback. I think they have a rookie or something, a second-year player in Sam Howell that is supposed to be the starter. I don't even know. So, and just doing that, I don't think that they're just asking for failure this year. No matter, and then Bieniemy, he's a great coach, and he's been up for head coaching jobs a lot. It just hasn't ever worked out. He hasn't gotten past the interview stage. So I think that it's just a dumpster fire, and kind of always has been, and is going to continue to do so until proven otherwise.
Yeah, like you said, I think it shows a lot from like the Commanders and just the organization themselves. Like they just got bought, right? Or they just sold them, right? So then that new transition phase with the new owners and stuff, whatever, and like it just, I mean, just shows you how they've been, and like just their players even complaining about the intensity of their coach, and it's just like I know I complained sometimes when I was playing as an athlete, but I was like, you're getting paid for this, bro. Like there's no way you're over there just. Dude, he told me to run faster. Yeah, I really don't want to run. It's like, come on, bro.
Or like, what do you expect? Like, what do you expect? Like, oh, sorry, like I get yelled at. Like, I'm getting like called out in film for not performing. Like, what do you expect? Like, you're getting paid millions of dollars to do so. You kind of knew what you signed up for, and there's no way that these players have never had a coach that has gotten after them like that. And I just think that it's a culture thing behind the Washington roster, and I think that's something that I'm really surprised they didn't fire Ron Rivera at the end of last season. So to not do so, and then to kind of just continue to breed this culture of ineptitude, is just something that it isn't. Like, if I was a Commanders fan, I wouldn't be excited, and I would just continue to be frustrated for what's happening and how everything is being handled.
Yeah, you should already be pissed off for yourself for picking the Commanders as your favorite team.
Yeah, facts.
And then
That's
just
facts.
With everything that's going on, and like all the crap and everything just being terrible, and then you hear this story and you're like, oh wow, we have a bunch of whiners on our team, a bunch of complainers. Like, yeah, I can't wait for season to start. We don't have a quarterback yet either, by the way. So throw that on top. Because just can't catch a break. I mean, it's good for us as Cowboy fans, I think.
Yeah,
hopefully it's an easy
not worried about it. Yeah,
2 wins at least.
Yeah,
exactly. We've done it a couple times, even 50. So.
Yeah, we'll hang points on. I'm not worried about it.
Exactly.
It makes me feel good. Go ahead. I mean, they can stay in that for all I care. So, all right, man. Well, you want to take it away there a little bit more?
Yeah, let's do it. Texas Rangers talk. Yeah,
let's go ahead.
All right. So, there's this guy on Twitter. I forget his name. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to give him quote unquote clout. He's some Astros dude that's always complaining on every single Rangers post, every single Rangers win. And he's always saying, oh, bro, like, because I saw a tweet from Fangraphs or whatever that posts the records after the deadline, and we were undefeated, obviously, and post the strength of schedule now. I'm like, bro, who cares, bro? You're winning 8 games in a row in Major League Baseball, no matter who you play.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter.
I think the biggest thing is that, I think that arguing strength of schedule doesn't make any sense, because especially within our own division, in a division rival, because we all play the same people. Everybody plays everybody.
Yeah, you play the same person.
And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The only team that I think the Rangers will play more than the Astros is, I think we play the Diamondbacks 4 times and they play them 3. And they play somebody else 4 times and we play them 3. So
exactly. So I think it's ridiculous how they're just complaining about that. Just finding a way for us to we were tied at some point. I'm kind of mad that we won 8 in a row and we were only able to stretch the lead back to 3.
And we're at 2 now after we lost today.
Yeah, Astros should have lost yesterday. I don't know if you saw how that game ended with the Orioles. Orioles were smacking on them 6-2 and 6-3. Yeah, Felix Bautista. Yeah, Felix Bautista, one of the best closers in the game, gives up a granny to Kyle Tucker for them to lose the lead. So that shows our luck so far this year. But sticking with the Rangers, today was announced like a little bit like before the game or during the game. Cuban outfielder Julio Pablo Martinez. I've heard of him because of MLB The Show. He's been on my career mode. Okay. So his potential is pretty good, at least on the show.
Okay.
But it looks like he's gonna be called up tomorrow, and he'll meet with the team on Friday with the Giants against the Giants. He signed for us in 2018. His AAA line was batting .312, .427 on base percentage, and 561 slugging. 12 home runs and 33 stolen bases. So I see the stolen bases. Like I said, he's an outfielder, so he's really fast. I heard that's what his game is, that he's really fast. But he's 27, Cuban. Gives us a little bit kind of like a Dolis type of player.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that's kind of what, I mean, it's like an easy comparison to make, but that's kind of what I thought of too. I think that Adolis he was like 28 or 29 when he broke out his rookie year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think this is like, Julio is like a great person that could do the same thing. And just to fill in, like, I think our left field has kind of been rotating between a couple players, and if maybe he can be the one that holds it down and kind of holds it over until like Kevin Carter and White Langford are ready to go, I think that'd be great. I know, mentioning him signing in 18, I was like looking into it and I realized that we signed him because we lost out on Shohei. So with the extra money that we had like earmarked for Shohei, and we just like, okay, cool, we'll sign this guy. And I guess 6 years later or so, 5 years later, he's finally come around. So
finally it's time. Yeah.
Who knows?
Finally it's time. Talking about those international pool money, and if you saw with the Dodgers too, I'll throw that in just a little quick. They signed this crazy pitcher from like Japan too, as their like Shohei replacement, I guess. Yeah, they did like some last like trade. I forgot who for some more international pool money, so they used that towards him, and he's supposed to be a stud.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Dodgers always find a way to find studs, especially in pitching.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if he gets called up, or if they actually select his contract, so he has to be added to the 40-man, which he wasn't on there. So we have to get rid of someone, DFA someone. Everyone's saying it's probably going to be Brad Miller, which I feel like it is.
Oh, yeah, because makes sense. And he's been hurt too recently, right?
These stupid IO stunts of like, something in his hamstring, so they don't like actually, because I feel like he probably doesn't have like options to get sat down. Hurt. So they'll just put him in the IL, and like they'll probably end up dropping him to DFA him. As much as it sucks. I mean, I was a fan of him. I know they like when they would interview him. He's actually a City fan, so he watches soccer. So I just give more respect to people when they watch soccer, especially Prem.
They watch soccer.
So he was a likable guy. He was just like like a guy to be around in the locker room and stuff. So, but he probably wore his last uniform with the Rangers, and I think his last appearance was him pitching against the Dodgers. Was be his last memory against for the Rangers, I think. Yeah.
So,
but let's go ahead and recap what happened. Yeah, let's go recap what happened since we last spoke.
Yeah, we went on a good run. Since we last spoke, right? We went 8-1. That sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had three series wins in the last week or so since we recorded. So starting out with the White Sox, we had mentioned that last Tuesday when we recorded, and that was kind of starting as we were getting ready to go. So, I mean, the 3 games, 2-0 win, 11-1, 5-3, and, our starting pitching, especially since the deadline, has kind of been showing that, like, hey, it's looking good. I mean, Tuesday was a 2-0 win, pitcher's duel. Heaney pitching 6 innings with only giving up 2 hits, having 11 Ks, no walks.
That was insane.
Wednesday, yeah, unreal, right? And then Wednesday, Dane Dunning, 7 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 11 Ks from somebody that's like a ground ball pitcher.
Dane Dunning is not a strikeout guy. I was trying to figure out somehow like finding a way. Like when was the last time 2 pitchers on the same team went back to back, like at least 10 plus Ks, and I couldn't find anything on that. So
yeah, which I mean, just something about that is just shown. And then like you the next 2 games to close out the White Sox series, Scherzer debuts and has like a rocky start, right? And I think in the first inning gave up 3 earned.
Terrible first inning, gave up 3 runs and like bases loaded. And
then you look at his final line at the end of the game, 5-3 win, 6 innings pitched, gives up 7 hits, 3 earned, and have 9 Ks. So I mean, that's just. I think the starting pitching has got significantly better, adding Scherzer and then talking about the next starter in the next series and Jordan Montgomery. I think that if Dunning and Heaney and then is kind of holding it over until we get Evaldi back, I think we're going to be in a good spot the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's like we're really comfortable right now.
Yeah.
We sent Martin back down, like we said.
Yeah, so I think he's So I think that we have a lot of standout guys right now in our pitching, which is going to be really good. And then on the offensive side, I think Corey's been going off. I mean, he was.
We need him to stay healthy. It's been so bad.
Yeah, and
I think that's what we're being really careful with him.
Yeah, and I know, like, we lost today. I mean, it's a 2-0 loss to Oakland, but we had just come off winning 8 straight. Corey's kind of played a lot there, so especially coming off injury, so give him a rest day. It's not the end of the world. I think dropping one early, especially when you already had kind of built the lead up to 3 games, it's really not the end of the world. So, and then the other person that's been really, really hot on the offensive side of the plate is Mitch Garver. He's been, I think, it started with the Thursday game in the White Sox series. So last Thursday, he went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a home run. And it's just kind of continued through these last week or so, which I think you and I kind of already talked about it, but he's getting that consistent run of games since Jonah Heim's been hurt. And even when he's not catching, he's still DHing. And I think that's a great opportunity for him to kind of get going and really be that guy that's going to help the lineup and kind of keep the offensive production up.
Yeah, I think we forget, like I said, some people forget that man was a silver slugger like 2 seasons before we traded for him with the Twins. And he's just a big power hitter, man. He's a big swing hit or miss guy. But if he gets contact on that ball, it sounds so nice, and he rips that
nice.
thing.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I think he was batting like 414 since yesterday after the trade deadline. So he's like, brings me to my point with like next man up mentality. This team has done so good with that. Started with Duran taking over for Seager when he pulled hamstring. Got Garver now, and you got pitchers like Dane Dunning. He was not supposed to be part of the starting rotation at all, and now he's like top 6 or 7 in the MLB for ERA. Like that's not what we're supposed to get out of him, and just next man up mentality has been doing really good for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's been honestly kind of like a revelation. I think that like it just shows that this team has kind of it's deep, and it's deeper than I think a lot of people thought it was. So I think that looking at the outlook for the rest of the year, I think it's going to be a battle with us in Houston for the division lead the entire year. But I mean, pitching stays hot, and I think pitching stays hot, bats stay hot. I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, that's what scares me. It's like I don't really want to. But it's baseball. You got to rely on your bats, and you got to rely on pitching too.
Yeah.
But I mean, our bats get cold. It happens. I mean, like, we just got shut out by the A's, and but we also see this team can put up 11 on any given day on any pitcher. I think on Dylan Cease, the guy that was supposed to be a hot piece, we absolutely raked him. I think we ran him out in 3 innings.
He was I don't even think he made it into the second.
Exactly.
So I mean, the bats are hot, and we still have the highest run differential in all of baseball at 175 in the positive. Next closest is Atlanta, which Atlanta is Atlanta.
Wow. Atlanta's Atlanta.
So yeah. And we have what I think we're plus 175 and they're plus 165. So I mean, it's not even like it's really that close. So definitely things to be excited about. And then to move on to the Marlins, we swept that again. Friday 6-2 win, Saturday 9-8, and then Sunday shutout 6-0. Montgomery debuted on Friday, gave us 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned, had 6 Ks with 1 walk. Dulles that game, 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and a walk, which the fact that he's not striking out is impressive to me.
Yeah, I think he walked today again too, so that's massive just for him to be patient and just get on base because he's also a threat on the base path. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then kind of looking at the rest of the notable stats, I think Seager just kind of stayed hot, and then that was kind of when our injury issues kind of started with Josh Young getting hurt. I think he got hurt on maybe Saturday or Sunday, I think. So
yeah, and it was a
we've
line or
had
two. I
that.
think it was like 106 off the bat or something like that, like just straight to his thumb.
Yeah, it's brutal. So we'll talk about injuries here in a little bit. And then to kind of recap, like Oakland, so we wouldn't have really had a chance to recap if we would have recorded yesterday, but luckily worked out to where they had a day game today, so they finished the series up today. 5-3 win on Monday, 6-1 on Tuesday, and then lost today is 2-0. Dunning again, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned, 6 Ks. Scherzer did his thing yesterday, and then even though Jordan Montgomery pitched today, we lost. He still was 6 innings pitched, gave up 7 hits, 2 earned, and 5 K. And I think that just the bats just kind of got cold. And I kind of already mentioned it, but this had a couple guys, and this is what it is. So I'm not really too worried about it. Going 8-1 out of our last 9, it's pretty.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a lot to ask for. And like I said, we finally have a longer win streak than the A's, so we can get that out the way. Put that in the rearview mirror for us. But yeah, I was really happy because I told you last week, I was like, man, this team has yet to get like hot.
Yeah.
And finally had it today, and I think they should have won this one. I think they just got, think maybe just comfortable being in Oakland. Like, it's really hard to be like competitive. I think once you go out there, you have no fans out there. It seems like a minor league game, and you just think, it's Oakland. Like, we'll figure it out. Which I think that's how they reacted on the first game on Monday. They barely were able to come back. And I don't know if you saw how we scored. It was a bunch of terrible like defensive mistakes that got us to score those runs.
Yeah, so, and I like the attendance today was 6,300. So, like, it just doesn't feel like a real game. And the A's have already lost 82 games this year. So,
that's insane.
It is what it is, in my opinion. But I think, like, looking ahead, right, we got San Francisco coming up, which just lost to Oakland. So, I think that it's going to be, I think we're in a good spot. And, we just need to get guys healthy. Josh Young, I think he's out for 6 weeks. He just had surgery today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's brutal. And then John Heim, he looks to be close to coming back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks to be coming back here soon. And I think Eovaldi threw his first bullpen today, and then he'll throw a more progressive one on Saturday, I think is what I saw. So
yeah,
things are starting to look up, and that's, especially for a team that's 8-1 out of the last 9, I think that getting those 3 guys back will be big for the postseason push.
Yeah.
So, well, man, do you have anything else to hit on the Rangers? I think we kind of covered a lot of it. They're really like the big team that's out and about right now. So
yeah, the ones that we can for sure be proud of right now. Usually it's always just focused on Cowboys because they're training camp, but no, not anymore, man. Excited.
Not anymore, yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, every game matters. Well, like I said, these games hurt when you lose today, especially to a team like Oakland, because they're like, man, I feel like it's going to bite us in the ass once we get towards the end. So. Yeah,
the good thing is that, I'm sure the Astros will drop a couple of stupid games, too, that they had no business dropping. So
you would hope that.
We'll see.
If they sweep the Orioles, that's going to be, it's massive for us, too, because they're fighting for number 1 seed. So that will be, if we can jump them. But also, I think if we jump them, we might have a possibility of playing the Astros in the second round.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do that.
It's too nerve-wracking, man. I know too many Astro fans. I know too much. I can't. I don't know, man. Too much stress on that series. I'd rather play it because I think Minnesota might be in the other bracket. It'd be like Minnesota or Toronto if you do it like that.
Yeah.
So it might be better off getting that second seed. But if you want to be a playoff team, you shouldn't be scared of anyone.
Yeah, I think Minnesota would be the 3 seed, and we would be the 2 seed right now because Tampa Bay would be a wild card. Houston would be a wild card. Toronto.
Yeah, Tampa and Toronto, yeah.
Yeah, they'll all be wild cards. So.
Yeah, man, well, it's going to be exciting to see how the playoffs will be, how it all pans out.
Yeah, no, for sure. But to move on to other things going around Dallas, we have FC Dallas. Messi was in town. I know you're out of town. Did you have a chance to watch any of the highlights or anything like that?
I did get some highlights. I didn't have that much good service, but my friend was at the game. He was about to buy some tickets. But I knew it was 4-2, and they were already shitting on them, oh bro, Messi's doing this, Messi doing that. And then I see when I finally get Wi-Fi, I'm like, oh my god, this guy just absolutely obliterated us by himself almost.
Yeah, no, it was, it was. I was watching it from home, and I will say, that was probably the best that I've seen FC Dallas look in a long time. I know that they made some stupid mistakes. I mean, Marco Farfan, like the own goal that we had to give, I think,
bullet header, bro,
to take it to 4-3. Yeah, like that. Like, I mean, he'll always say like Messi assisted him for a goal. So.
I was gonna say, if I see Messi whipping across, bro, I'm putting that in the back of the net, bro. I don't care what team I'm in.
Right at it. It was. I don't know, man. It's kind of been the story of FC Dallas' season of blowing leads. It's pretty common for them to blow a lead, that either to blow a lead and draw a game or blow a draw and lose a game. So, not really surprised. They just kind of have to figure out their closing mentality, and like Jesus he probably could have had a hat trick and then just to not do anything. Yeah, I know he for sure missed a sitter where he was like him one-on-one with the keeper and just like touched it into the keeper. It was ridiculous.
Like I said, I just saw like all like the Messi videos and stuff like that. Obviously his free kick and saying like penalty and like all that stuff, assist and on, so on goal. But I think it really helps out it gives a little preview for DFW when the World Cup comes here. 2026. I think it's really good for the sport. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the support was good. I mean, it was a packed house, and FC Dallas been doing really good about sellouts recently. So I think that I don't know, it's good. It kind of drives the hype around soccer coming up, and hopefully gets more and more support for FC Dallas and makes it bigger. And then, like you said, World Cup coming up in 3 years now. It'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really good.
Yeah, so to kind of move on to all right. So yeah, let's move on to the Cowboys. Kind of still in training camp, haven't had a ton happen. They play their first preseason game this coming Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember who they're playing against, but they'll play this first game on Saturday. What do you think about the first unofficial depth chart that they kind of released?
I saw some surprising names on there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
One that came up to me was RB2 with Rico. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle. I think it's Dowdle. Yeah.
Dowdle. Yeah. That one really threw me off. But it really threw me off. Like I said, RB2. Like I think would have really messed up. Ronald Jones, obviously his suspension stuff. So I don't know if that automatically just moves him out of the RB2 spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really big name for me. And then obviously for RB3 is Malik. Is it
Malik Davis? Yeah, Malik.
I was gonna say Malik Willis, but I know that's not Malik. Yeah, Malik Davis.
Yeah.
So just another big back, like I said, and like I think he was drafted like 4 years ago, and then like undrafted now, and like he's only had 20 career games, 7 carries for 24 yards, 4 kickoff returns he's a rookie last year. Okay. He had those 44 touches, and he had a touchdown.
It's like garbage time. I think. Yeah, but I don't know. Sure. I think that's pretty. I think there wasn't really anything that was like a big surprise to me. I think Rico Dowdle is probably the biggest one, because I think I would have expected Malik Davis to kind of be the RB2 also, or like Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones can kind of be that like Zeke Elliott mold. So, and I think the other thing that I was kind of surprised about was Deuce Vaughn being so far down the depth chart. And for everybody that hasn't seen it, he's listed as RB5, which in my opinion is kind of crazy. But everything that I think it's also still super early, right? And I think that everything that I've heard and all the noise that I've seen is that he's like impressing, and he's one of, I kind of listed some like surprises, and he's kind of one of those people that have been like a revelation in that, he's small and is what it is. You can talk about his size all day long, but he's still like an electric player, and he's still a baller. And I think Dak has raved about him and said that he's kind of somebody that can get involved a lot and can easily be somebody that is just helpful and a weapon in the offense. So I think that a lot of the stuff that Kevontae Turpin did last year would be something that I'm sure that Deuce Vaughn could do as well.
Yeah, I saw him down there listed next to him for like kick return and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think he's the second string punt returner right now.
Yeah. And
then Malik Davis, the other running back, is kick returner number 2. So, yeah, man, I think that those are kind of the big things. And I know, like, wide receiver wise, I don't think there's really anything that was super out of the ordinary. I mean, you're top 3. And
CeeDee Lamb being a dog, I think he's going to have an even bigger year this year than he did last year. So I'm just excited to see that core.
Yeah. And I think that we had kind of mentioned it last week, but just looking for Jalen Tolbert to step up. And I think everything that I've seen is that he has, and that he's been performing really well. And Devontae Turpin also has been kind of making plays. So I kind of feel like he's one of those guys that are on the bubble. And I think that if our wide receiver group, I mean, just as a whole, kind of continues to make plays, it's going to ask, like, where are we going to cut people else? Because, we have to trim it down to 53, and it'll be tough. But I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think the biggest story is the kicking.
Yeah,
I guess
it's going to be the story of the season.
Yeah. So I know that we finally cut Tristan Vizcaino.
Vizcaino?
I don't know how to say it.
But yeah, he got cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been just a complete shit show,
reason.
man. And yeah,
it's with good reason. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we brought somebody in sometime soon, a more veteran guy. I know there's a couple guys that are still out there, so I kind of hope so.
I think Robbie Gould is still out there.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people. I think I've heard stuff that I don't think he'd be able to do kickoffs. I don't think he's got the leg for it. So I think that's why, that's why he's still out there, because he's a liability in kickoffs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he's still a good field goal guy, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, can Brian Anger the punter? Can he not do kickoffs?
Bro, don't even get me started, bro. I thought why can't punters how do you not naturally know how to kick a field goal? Like, is that not rested on you? Like when I would play in middle school, bro. I know, but I was like, I at least would know both. Like, why would you not want to know both? It's like knowing Spanish and English, bro. Just come on, just do it, bro. It's good for you.
I kind of wish I did know Spanish. It would be a little bit easier in my life.
See, come on. You'd be the type to just be a punter and not know how to kick. Gosh, man.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. But yeah, and I think the other big stories is Zach Martin still holding out. That's hopefully. I mean, I think he's getting fined $50,000 a day. Yeah. So, and it's got to be close to $750,000. Yeah, at this point. So
Jerry better pay for that. I'm making Jerry pay for that, man.
I'm sure. Yeah, Jerry it'll be wiped clean and it won't matter. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like Jerry and Steven Jones want to pay because we have other people to pay, which specifically looking at Micah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Micah and CD, so we kind of can't afford to not pay those guys. So it's like a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I am worried though, because I feel like by the way they sound, like it kind of sounds like they're not really valuing him as much as they should. Like they really don't think he's as good as they think. But I'm like, dude, he's one of the best linemen in the league.
He's a Hall of Famer. So I mean, that's future Hall of Famer. So it's like you kind of have to respect it and concede something. I mean, everybody's gonna have to concede something. It's a negotiation kind of deal, but I think that hopefully.
And our O-line's been that. I mean, our O-line's always been that one group that's always been really good for us for a while. But we can see from last year it's kind of shaky. And then we hope to have Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith play together. That'd be awesome. But you don't know how many games you're going to get out of Tyron.
I did forget to mention that was one thing that I was pretty surprised about, is that Tyron Smith was listed at the starting left tackle while Tyler Smith was listed at the starting left guard. Which I was pretty surprised about that, because I think last year whenever Tyron got healthy, they just kept Tyler Smith at tackle, and he played tackle pretty much all year, and he did well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. I think I just don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm guaranteeing and I wouldn't be surprised if they did flip-flopping throughout the year.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure it out right now, and hopefully we don't have to worry about not playing with Zach Martin. I really don't want to worry about that.
There's no way that they let that happen. Something will do. So, and then, man, I think the defense is going to be pretty damn good. Man, I think that we have a lot of
really bad sometimes, and some clips that I see on Twitter, man.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about it. It's kind of how
you would hope it's a good thing for offense.
That's kind of how it always is, because like whenever you're in like camp like that, right? The biggest thing is that defense is always the easiest to pick up and to like get scheme wise. And so there's like two facets to it, right? Like you have to think about Dan Quinn has been the defensive coordinator. This is his third season now with the Cowboys. So it's not like they're learning anything new. Whereas on the offensive side of the ball, we finally got rid of Kellen Moore. And then we have Schottenheimer and Big Mike calling plays now. So that's like a little bit, it may be a pretty similar scheme to what we have been running, but it's still different and it's not the same. So offense is installing a bunch of stuff. So that's the second thing. And third thing is just like in general, defense is like more see ball, get ball, and you just make a play on where the ball's at and where it's going. Where it's like offense, you have to work on timing.
Yeah.
You have to work on the play concepts, and it's a little bit more of like
more reactive.
You have to exactly, yeah. So that's kind of like the big deal. And so if like let's say we play our second preseason game and we're still not looking good, then I think that's kind of time to worry. But I really don't think that you'll know what we have on offense until week 1.
Yeah, because I don't think we're gonna see Dak at all preseason. Then he's not gonna play a snap from what I heard.
I would hope not.
Another thing that I wanted to mention just real quick, I might have maybe a little too late from like news from last week, but everyone was just complaining at the way that Trayvon Diggs and Michael Parsons were acting towards Dak and like, oh, that's someone that that shows like they have no respect for their own quarterback because they were like trash talking. I'm like, you think that no one trash talks, bro? Like I used to do that all the time with my own teammates, bro. I'm disrespecting the crap out of them on purpose. Like I wanted to do it to drive them, bro. Like it just shows how much people haven't been athletes and haven't been in that situation. Which just pisses me off.
It doesn't make any sense.
They're just making stories out of it, obviously.
Yeah, it's just it's the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are like the most profitable team to cover, and probably and for sure in the United States. And then 2, it's just a lightning rod of stuff. I mean, if you don't think that there's like fights within your own team during practice, like you got to be kidding yourself. Like, I mean, you see the same people, and like camp is just such a brutal thing, and it's like you're practicing all day, it's hot, you're hitting the same people all day, and then you're like with them nonstop, and it's just nothing but football. Like you're gonna talk shit. It just is what it is, and I think that like it's not anything to worry about. I think Trayvon Diggs like came out and said like it's nothing. Like we're so family. Like it's just is what it is, and like that's kind of just like how you talk to somebody that you're like really good friends with, kind of like you said.
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous how they really made it think like, oh, like man, their own team doesn't even like they think Dak Prescott's bad or whatever. Like, dude, like they're competitive.
That's
bro.
not what
Like
they're
Dak
saying.
was talking shit to them too when he dropped allegedly. I don't know if the stat is real. Supposedly he has like 40 touchdowns in like spring camp. I'm like, I don't know who's keeping count. I really don't care. But also he does have a lot of picks.
There's no shot.
Which doesn't matter. But I just think it was really dumb. It was just pissing me off that people were really bringing that as like just a headline of like, oh, Trayvon Diggs doesn't respect Dak because he was cussing them out and Dak didn't do anything about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay.
You guys clearly haven't been in any actual field competitively how these guys have, or just in general.
Yeah, that's facts.
But
yeah. And then, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Cowboys. So we'll have a little bit more to talk about them next week after we kind of watch the preseason game, kind of see who's set out. Yeah. So been waiting on that. I'm kind of over this camp stuff and give us actually something of substance to talk about, really.
Yeah.
And then the Mavs, that's kind of the last thing. I know it felt like they hadn't been doing anything. And then all of a sudden, there's a couple things that they had talked about.
Draft has happened. Trades can still happen, but nothing much. And so right before we left, like I said, we were writing this down and we had just a big question mark. Just maybe we can talk about him. And then, hey, Sham said that we signed a free agent, forward and center Derek Jones to a 1-year deal with the Dallas Mavericks. I think it's big just for the Mavericks just to get another size guy. They can maybe play small ball with too, as like a center if they want to do that. He was the 2020 slam dunk champ, is what I heard. That's all.
Yeah.
I really remember that.
So, I mean, I think it's good to have like somebody like that, big athletic wing. I mean, just play defense. I think that was, especially when you have kind of like Luka and Kyrie on the floor at the same time, that defense is pretty clearly the weak point between the two of them. So somebody that can run and be an athlete and just guard people. I think a lot about defense is being smart and knowing what's coming and then also giving that effort. So yeah, I think it's a good signing and just for like a minimum deal, I think right before training camp for them starts. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just excited. Like we said, we saw those pictures with Luka. Skinny Luka is looking good. And
skinny Luka.
Crazy stat line too for Slovenia.
Yeah,
triple-double.
Very worried about him. Very worried about him right now. I just fingers crossed he stays healthy. I'm gonna knock on wood because the last thing I need is, or the last thing the Mavs need is something to go wrong with.
Need that. And then we can briefly talk about that tweet I sent you with like the betting odds on who the starting center is for the Mavs for opening day.
Oh yeah.
And it was minus the money for Clint Capella to be starting for the Mavericks. I don't know what they know, but Vegas always knows something.
Vegas knows something.
Vegas always knows something, and I try to question the books, and you shouldn't question the books or doubt them. So they know something that we don't. So maybe that's still on the radar. I really hope so. I think that would. I don't think it make us contenders yet. I do think it's really going to help our starting lineup.
Yeah,
center,
it would.
Like an actual center. I mean, whatever Dwight Powell thinks he is.
Yeah, so I think that's something that I would have loved to definitely would love to see happen. I mean, Dwight Powell's been Dwight Powell, and he's been serviceable, but he's not going to take us to the upper echelon of the NBA.
No,
I think Rashawn Holmes could be all right, but yeah, I think that like Clint Capella is that elite like post presence that you kind of need to have. So it'll be good.
Yeah, for Rashawn Holmes, you're really betting.
You're
really betting that he comes like that guy that he was at one point for Sacramento. But I mean, there's a reason why they wanted to offload that contract, and he was getting paid a lot and just wasn't playing up to their standards. But you never know. Sometimes New Jersey, new city, new team can really help out a player.
Somebody.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we'll see who the starting center will be for the Mavs when it starts.
Yeah, we'll see. But you got anything else?
I think that's it, man. Just hopefully Rangers go on another win streak. And hopefully we see each other next week again. Yeah, we got the Angels after the Giants, so another divisional game, but I'm not worried about the Angels really at all. They finally won the first game after the trade deadline.
Yeah, they've been piss poor since the deadline. So
yeah, they should have traded for Tony.
I mean, if you don't have anything, that's facts.
That's it,
but
man.
If you don't have anything, I mean, we can say goodbye. I think appreciate everybody for listening. Be a friend, tell a friend, spread the word. We're pretty small. We're starting to grow, so that's kind of the goal. We want to keep bringing you guys content and kind of get going and kind of keep it going every week. So thank you guys for listening. Subscribe. Go watch us on YouTube. We have a YouTube now, so we're going to start posting TikToks more. So we're going to kind of start spreading all around through all the social media platforms. So thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week. That was Austin and Oli. Peace.
Yes, sir.